Mr. President, I have not been on the floor during the entire remarks of my friend from Virginia, but I did hear part of it, and I first want to thank you for your extraordinary leadership on behalf of the people of Virginia and on behalf of a sensible way to resolve our budget problems. You have been a leader in building bridges and recognize how devastating sequestration is, not just to the federal workers who live in your state, not just to the people that live in your state, but to our entire country. This is dangerous sequestration, and you really have been a leader in pointing that out. You've also made it very clear that sequestration is mindless, across-the-board cuts, that we have a responsibility to make priority decisions. And when we use sequestration, we're on automatic pilot, but an automatic pilot that can't carry out its current mission, can't safely navigate the air. That's where we are. And I really applaud you for taking on this issue of saying to our friends on both sides of the aisle, let's listen to each other. We know we're divided here. We have different views. But we need to sit down, work together, and come up with a sensible way to balance the federal budget, to give the predictability that's necessary, and to eliminate these sequestration cuts. It's particularly painful right now when we have so many Marylanders, so many Virginians, so many people in this country that are receiving paychecks with a 20% cut, and yet the work they have to do is the same.
Will the senator yield for a question?
Be glad to.
I just want to thank the senator from Maryland for his comments, and let me say that no senator has served with more distinction, both here in the Senate and prior to that in the House, in being a constant advocate for federal employees and being willing to step up to protect them and rebut what we too often hear from some of our colleagues, that across the board, without distinction, demean and denigrate the extraordinary good work that so many countless unnamed federal employees do. So I want to thank the senator from Maryland for that work. I want to thank him for his willingness and continued willingness and conversations with me and others to talk about, hey, we all have to stretch a little ways to get things done, because I know he's hearing the same thing in Maryland. People are not distinguishing red shirt, blue shirt. They want us to get this job done, and I, again, thank the senator for his good work and look forward to working with him and folks on both sides of the aisle to resolve this issue. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank my colleague for those comments. I understand you've already mentioned the fact of what's happening at the National Institutes of Health and the fact that because of these sequestration cuts, the number of grants that will be given out this year, contracts with young scientists to do research, are going to be cut by the hundreds. Now, we don't know which one of these researchers would have come up with an advancement on a major breakthrough, but there would have been some, and they're going to be denied. They may get discouraged, the people who would have received these grants, and they may go into other fields. We may lose them forever as far as scientific researchers. They may go to other professions, they may go to other countries. But we know that they're not doing the work they're trained to do, and we know that they had a proposal that went through the most difficult vetting process and was selected for funding and should have been funded, but is not being funded because of these sequestration cuts. That we know. That much we know for sure. We also know that it's not just that researcher who's been hurt by these sequestration cuts. It's the businesses that depend upon the basic research, many of which are small companies, in order to build upon that research to create the products that go into the marketplace and create the jobs that are necessary for our economy. There's a direct loss to the economy of our country as a result of these sequestration cuts.